In this video, I'll be unboxing a sanding disc set and its accessories and showing exactly what's included. Then I'll demonstrate how to attach one of the sanding discs and show how it behaves during use using a small wooden block as an example. Let's start with the unboxing. So we have some yellow backing pads and some mandrels. We have two standard size sanding sponges. These are foam backed abrasive blocks rather than traditional flexible sandpaper sheets. And here we have a large number of sanding discs neatly and tightly packed inside this box. So let's remove all the sanding discs and lay them out on the table. We have an 80 grit sanding disc, which is the coarsest option in this set, followed by 120, 180 and 240, then 320, 400, 600 and 800, and finally the finer grits 1000, 1500, 2000 and 3000. Here's a close look at one of the two sanding sponges. They're identical with an abrasive surface on each side and a soft blue sponge layer in between. Really handy for curved surfaces and edges. This is the larger 75mm or 3-inch hook and loop backing pad. What looks like a protective pad is actually a reversible interface pad used during sanding to add cushioning while maintaining the hook and loop structure. I added some footage to show that better. So you've got the backing pad, then you reverse the interface pad, press it on, and then onto the interface pad you can press on a sanding disc. And there you can see you've got extra cushioning, which can come in handy. I'll just place it back on for now. The backing pad indicates a maximum of 15,000 RPM usage, so I'll be running my power drill at around that speed. Here's the smaller 50mm backing pad. This backing pad also comes with the same type of reversible interface pad. Let's take out the mandrels. These two are 6.35mm or 1/4-inch hex shank types, which can be inserted into the 3-jaw chuck of a power drill or power screwdriver. And this one here is a 6.35mm or 1/4-inch round shank mandrel intended for use with a rotary tool or air tool. Here's the 75mm or 3-inch backing pad that we'll be using today. For this test, I'll attach the sanding disc directly to the backing pad without using the interface pad. Here's the abrasive side. The abrasive surface appears to be evenly coated. Press the sanding disc firmly onto the backing pad like this. The hook and loop layer appears to be quite secure, which should ensure stable attachment during sanding, and hopefully the sanding disc doesn't fly off. So let's attach a hex shank mandrel to the 75mm or 3-inch backing pad. That will need tightening with a wrench or spanner before we use it. For now, I'll just place the interface pad back on to keep things tidy while we move on. Let's count how many 80 grit sanding discs we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 sanding discs, which is exactly what the set is supposed to include. Here's the 2000 grit sanding discs. There are also 10 of them, as there should be. Let's pick up the hex mandrel and attach it to the 50mm or 2-inch backing pad, even though we won't be using it in this video. This needs to be tightened with a wrench or spanner before use. Next, remove the interface pad. The smaller diameter can be useful for smaller workpieces. When using this backing pad, you can leave it with the larger 75mm or 3-inch diameter sanding disc for sanding internal curved surfaces, or you can trim it to size with scissors. Okay, time for the test. I have already tightened the mandrel with a wrench or spanner, so we're good to go. For this example, I'll attach an 80 grit sanding disc directly to the backing pad without using the interface pad. For this example, I'll sand a small block of wood. Here's my Bosch power drill, which has a 3-jaw chuck ready to receive the hex mandrel. I'll just tighten the chuck with the key here. Make sure the power drill is unplugged when attaching or detaching the mandrel. Since this is a test, I'll be driving the sanding disc hard by driving the power drill at around 15,000 RPM most of the time. With 80 grit, material removal is fast, so only light pressure is needed. The disc appears to be staying firmly attached. As you can see, the sanding disc is starting to clog a little, especially toward the outer edge where the surface speed is higher. I'll just speed the camera up, but I was able to easily sand down this surface by about 3 mm fairly quickly. The sanding disc was perfectly stable, even though I was driving the power drill close to 20,000 RPM sometimes. I spent a bit of time sanding the workpiece down to a desired size. After about half an hour of sanding, the sanding disc didn't seem to decline in performance, and the clogging didn't seem to increase much more. So let's change to a new sanding disc and see if there's an improvement in performance. There seems to be a slight improvement in sanding performance, but not a significant one. This means that I have changed the sanding disc prematurely and that the sanding disc can last much longer. Even after extensive use, the abrasive surface remains consistent. So that's a quick look at what's inside this sanding disc set and a basic example of using one of the discs. Thanks for watching, and feel free to check out these videos as well.